A strange story happened with me many years ago when I was in a Russian jail for trying to hijack a Russian airplane with my friends and to run away to Israel. It was in the 70s, and I spent 11 years in the prison. Once I had secretly Sforim, means sacred books, like Chumash and Sidur and some others, and they were confiscated for I kept them illegally, and I prolonged the hunger strike, trying to do something to struggle back. You can't permit that the Goyim are taking his books and he is sitting back. Also, I was aware that it was an unequal struggle. They are the strong empire and I am alone. And then, after almost 2 months of hard hunger strike, you can imagine that a man is in a punishment box, all alone, nobody is helping him, no food, almost starving, almost losing every expectation, and all of a sudden, the doors open, the guards giving me back some of the books, not all of them, but at least some of them, and I am out from the cell, out from my punishment room, and later on, in almost less than 2 months, I got released. For just to mention that my friends from this plot of hijacking in airplane were released in 1979, and for some reason I stayed 2 years more in Israel. I couldn't explain that time why all of a sudden things start moving so fast. So when I was released, I arrived to Israel and I started my new life. I went to learn in Merkaz Arab Yeshiva, and only now, only recently, I was invited to a birthday party of a very famous Chabad rabbi, Yitzchak Kogan, that formerly was a famous refusnik, and he worked together with Anatoly Sharansky and Aidan Udel and all others. And then in the 70s, Rabbi Yitzchak Kogan turned to be a shoichet. Also, his profession, his specialty is nuclear submarines, but somehow he felt that there is no kosher meat, and he started learning, and then started the shechita, learned it, and trying other people, like for example, here's Dr. Aryeh Volvovsky in Machon Lev, that he is his student, and he has a lot of stories how he practiced the shechita underground in Soviet Russia. So finally, the rumor of this outstanding shoichet, nuclear shoichet, arrived to 770, and the Rebbe sent a special shaliach to look and to see and to understand what is going there. For you understand that to be a shoichet is not that simple. You have to have a certificate. It's not just to kill somebody with a knife. So it sounded maybe even strange that far away in the Russian underground there is a kosher shoichet. The shaliach arrived, and that time you had to have a cover. You couldn't be simply a shaliach of Rebbe. There was certainly a tourist, an American tourist, a regular one, that started coming. It was in the beginning of the 80s. He arrived and got a very, very good impression of what is going on, and he was amazed even how Rav Yitzchak Kogan worked. That time he was not considered a Rav. We simply called him Izek Kogan. And then in the end of the visit, the shaliach told, I will tell the Rebbe, he will bless you certainly for this big enterprise that you established. And then all of a sudden, Izek Kogan tell Rebbe not to bless me, bless better Yosef Mendelevich. For people, my friends, refuseniks, my friends, outside the prison were aware of my hunger strike, and they were bothered with my health. They understood that after 2 months I can even die. So it's real tzaddik. He never thought about himself or, to refuse and not to get the bracha of the Rebbe. It's something for people, something not ordinary. He give away his bracha. brocha. And then it is how it happened. Now I understand why I was immediately released from my cell, and I got whatever I demanded during the hunger strike. And then in 2 months, I was released and sent away to Eretz Israel. And then another very outstanding miracle happened with me. For when I was sent out, and after some 3-4 hours from Moscow, I arrived to Vienna. For then there was not direct flights, and there was a stop in between in Vienna. I was met by the ambassador of Israel, brought to the embassy, and then I talked to Menachem Begin, to my sisters, and then the ambassador asked me, "What would you like to have? Just a prisoner that's released, original from the prison. Certainly, he would like to have some tasty food, maybe wine or cognac or whatever." I told, "See, soon there will be sundown, and I never in my life had the possibility to put on tefillin in Soviet Russia. So please bring me tefillin that I can perform this mitzvah, the first mitzvah being a free man." And then, the ambassador was somehow strange to him, that who has here in the embassy the tefillin. I suppose he didn't have it. All of a sudden, Rabbi Israel Singer stepped forward. Israel Singer used to be an executive director of World Jewish Congress, and also the miracle certainly produced a Rebbe, but every miracle had its shaliach. So in this case, the shaliach was Edgar Bronfman, the president of World Jewish Congress, and he had the negotiation with the Russian about my release. So when they come to terms, he sent Israel Singer to see me being released, and then Israel Singer told me, what's strange, he told me, when I was told that I have to come to see you in Vienna, I talked to Rabbi Menachem Mendelevich, and I told him, now I'm going to see Yosef Mendelevich out from prison, what to bring him? And he told, certainly, bring him tefillin. And here's the tefillin that Israel Singer brought me, and since then I have it. It's something it's a regular tefillin, but it has its special value, for it has its brocha. So it was the beginning, but later on I decided to find out what it was. After I heard Yitzhak Kogan telling the story on his 70th birthday June this year, I started checking whether I have more connection to Chabad. Not by chance it happened with me, the big miracle and the miracle with the tefillin. It turned sure, my Zayde, Nehemiah Yosef, that I am called after him, was a Mishamish of Gaon of Rogachev, Rabbi Josef Rosen, that is known as Hasid Chabad. So when Rabbi Rayat sent Rabbi Menachem Mendelevich to be examined whether he fits the criteria of being the chosen of his daughter, he sent it to see the Rogachev. And who opened the door? It was my Zayde that opened the door to enter Menachem Mendelevich. It is the first connection, and then it turned out that I have more connection, for I was connected during being in Riga with a very famous Chabad family of Barkan. The father, Noter Barkan of Ashom, was later, after Soviet power finished to be, he was appointed chief rabbi of Riga. So it turns out that I belong, and it's the reason that I was invited. It is the album that I got when I visited recently Dnepropetrovsk. It's a big capital, that the father of Rabbi Menachem Mendelevich, Rav Levi Yitzchak, was the chief rabbi of Dnepropetrovsk. And I saw the Rabbi Weber, that is director general of the whole project of Chabad in Soviet Russia. And I was invited now to visit all the 80 centers of Jewish movement in Soviet Russia. So I am back in Russia, this time for the good purpose. It's the book, and it's the people of Chabad. I visited already. I was in Moscow, and I was in Leningrad, I was at Odessa, Riga, whatever, and I hope I will continue. And it is how it's connected to the portion of the week of Noach. For if you remember, the end of the parsha has to do with Avraham Avinu that started his way from Ur Kasdim, from the first Galus, to Eretz Israel. And it's exactly what happened with me. It was the story that I told you. It's the way of Yosef Mendelevich from the Galus of Russia to Eretz Israel. Like I heard the Lech Lecha, and I tried to go my way, and a lot of tzaddikim helped to do my way straight and easy.